Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. We seek His help, His guidance, His love, and we seek refuge from the evils that surround us. Anyone whom He guides, no one can misguide, and anyone whom He misguides, no one can guide. I bear witness that there is no entity worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I bear witness that Muhammad is His last and final messenger. Assalamu alaikum. Today we're going to be talking about Sai'd bin Zayd. And Sai'd bin Zayd, he accepted Islam from the very, very early stages, at the age of 19. And his teacher was Khattab ibn Walid. He married Fatima ibn Khattab, the sister of Umar ibn Khattab. And not only was she the sister of Umar ibn Khattab, but she was also the second woman to accept Islam. And when I think of Sai'd bin Zayd, two characteristics come to mind: courage and servitude. Courage because of the famous story of Umar ibn Khattab and how he came to Islam. He was on his way to kill the Prophet Muhammad, and on his way someone stopped him and said, before you go and worry about the Prophet Muhammad, worry about what's going on in your own house. And he went to his sister's house, and he saw his brother-in-law, Sai'd bin Zayd, and his sister reading the Quran. And he basically knocked them both out. And like we learned in the previous episodes, Umar ibn Khattab was a straight giant. And so it takes a level of fearlessness and a level of courage to stand up to someone like that. And we all know Umar ibn Khattab went on to become one of the most beloved Sahabi. And he led many armies. And even when he came to Islam, he let everyone know that he came to Islam. And the majority of the people after that accepted Islam with a lot more ease. And servitude because he loved, Sai'd bin Zayd loved service. He loved to struggle. And in fact, he said to witness a battle alongside the Prophet and have the dirt covering your face and being in the heat of the battle is more beloved than living a lifetime of good deeds, even if you live the life of Nuh alayhi salam. And he witnessed every battle except for the Battle of Badr. And one would think, why didn't he partake in this battle if he accepted Islam from the get-go? And he even, some scholars even say he accepted it before the Aqab. And it was because him and Talhan were sent to Sham to scout out where the Quraysh were coming from. And by the time they came back, the battle had finished. And but regardless, the Prophet Muhammad counted them as veterans of the Battle of Badr. But in many of the other battles, Sai'd bin Zayd was known for charging first. He was known for always having this passion and this fearlessness and charging first. And he was known as Qadiyat al-Farsan. So subhanAllah, for him to be amongst Umar ibn Khattab and many of the other Sahabi who were stronger, that's a very, very honorable name to have. And not only that, the Muslims were always outnumbered, 1 to 3, 1 to 5, 1 to 10. So it takes a level, again, it takes a level of fearlessness and a level of courage to stand up to such an army. And in many other battles as well. In the Battle of Yarmouk, Khalid ibn Walid appointed him to be the heart of the battle. And in that battle, he was talking to Abu Ubaidah, and he told him that he intended to die as a shaheed. And if he died, and he met the Prophet Muhammad, what would he want? What would he like for him to convey to the Prophet Muhammad? And Abu Ubaidah told him that if you meet the Prophet Muhammad, tell him peace and peace from all the Muslims. And Jazakallah khair, we have found what our Lord has promised us to be true. And he was referencing the spread of Islam. He was referring to the spread of Islam to neighboring countries. And unfortunately, he didn't die as a shaheed in that battle, and went on to lead an army to Sham and Damascus. And Umar ibn Khattab had appointed him the governor of Damascus, and he ended up living in the palace of Caesar. And subhanAllah, just to give you an understanding of what Damascus looked like, Damascus was by far the most industrialized city of its time. May Allah restore its beauty. So for him to go from going from being this warrior in battle and having to live basically this thug life, and then having the luxury of living in a palace, was extreme. It wasn't comfortable, and he sensed that level of uncomfort. So one day he was he looked out the balcony and he wrote a letter to Umar bin Khattab and said, "When you get this letter, I will be on my way back. So please appoint someone who is more appropriate for this position." And subhanAllah, of all the 10 who were granted Jannah, Sai'd bin Zayd is the least known and the least famous. But he is the most relatable, especially for the youth. Because we all come to the deen at 17, 18, 19. And when we come to the deen, we look at these organizations and we think, how do I become the top? How do I become the guy who gives the khatira? How do I become the guy who leads prayer? Or the sister who leads the talks? But it's not about that. It's sometimes, and more importantly, it's about the people who dedicate their time to clean the bathrooms, who dedicate their time to, or they dedicate their time to come to the masjid and clean it up. SubhanAllah, we have so many clean up the masjid days and 5 to 10 people come. But if we have a leadership summit, or if we ask people to lead a khatira or lead a lecture, give the adhan, we have hundreds of people volunteering. And although there isn't a problem with that, but we also need to have a very holistic understanding of how to volunteer and how to serve our deen and how to serve our ummah. And this is a reminder to myself first, inshallah khair. And if I've said anything that has benefited you, it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If I've said anything that is wrong, please forgive me. It's for my own sins. Jazakallah khair.